Hey guys, Sean Bucci, surplusfundsriches.net. Welcome to the webinar. It looks like we've already got a good number of people coming in here. If someone could just let us know if you can hear and see us. Okay, please do not use the Q&A button. Use the chat button. Let's go. I'm excited. I need some guidance. No problem, Nerlandi. If someone can let me know you can hear and see me okay, that'd be great. Again, please don't use the Q&A button. Sherry says yes. Will I Am says yes. My God, I've got a member of the P's on here. Cheryl says, hi, guys. Pete says, see and hear you. Welcome back. Jordan says, hi. Yeah, guys, I appreciate it. We had a long trip last week. Everybody's hearing and seeing me. That's great, guys. Any and all questions are welcome. Real quick, I got to do this. Since we only sell our programs 2 days out of the month, and the next one's going to be the 15th and the 16th. Just so you know, surplusfundsriches.net, you can click the top. Special is going to be the North Carolina Flipmaster that we're throwing on there by itself. That's typically not found by itself, and it's usually not an add-on. The reason we like it is not only are we local to North Carolina, so if I get a deal close on a deed flip, I can actually go out and pound on the door if I have to and have a conversation in person with them. But in addition to that, North Carolina has an interesting rule that no other state has. We have a 10-day upset bid. So when it goes to auction, Jennifer says she bought, thank you. Chastity and Corey, thank you. Calvin, Tim, Jennifer, Jordan, Chastity and Corey again. Hold on real quick. Rory, Chabone, Verlin, Brad, Peter, because I know a lot of you guys don't believe it's live unless I do this. Doyle, Lindsay, Gary, Jordan, Pete, Cheryl, Charmaine, back to Will I Am, and then Thais. Guys, I'm going to answer your question in just a second, Tab. But anyway, what I like about the North Carolina Flipmaster program, now this is a partnership-only program. If you guys have our deed flip, that tells you how to do it on your own. This is specifically for North Carolina. Works for both tax and mortgage overages. If you guys already bought it, it's not a new program if you've already bought it or if it was in one of your bundles. However, if you haven't, it's a great one to add on. It's offered, I think, at $447 this month. Obviously, we're selling all other programs and bundles as well. But that's a cool program, and I'm excited about it because North Carolina is our highest conversion deed flip state. And we call it deed flip because we're buying the deed and reselling it as is, where is. We're not actually doing fix and flip. But that 10-day upside bid I talked about is really important in North Carolina because we can actually go beyond the auction. Because what happens is somebody bids at the auction, and there's a lot of sharks here in North Carolina. So the next person waits till 9 days and bids and upsets the bid, which resets the clock for another 10 days. We've seen stuff go over a year before. And definitely over 6 months after the actual auction date. So it's very powerful, and it's our highest converting state. I have a question from reading the pamphlet, says Thais. Fire away. That's what this is for. Tab, if I find the original deed for the claimant, but no deed of trust, mortgage, or security deed, can I assume the sale was a cash sale or the grantor was family and deeded the property free and clear to the claimant? So you still should have, Tab, a deed transferring from the ex-owner to the buyer or the high bidder at the sale. You're going to have to find that too. But as far as no deed of trust or mortgage, guys, I know this surprises a lot of people. I'm not trying to be, anyway, a lot of times people do buy property cash. Believe it or not, especially if they're in a state that's gone up dramatically, they can sell their home for a lot of money and move to another state and just buy it cash. They can, or they inherited the property. You see that a lot in tax sales. So not being able to find a mortgage, as long as you actually did the search and can show that page you were on, that's not an issue. But you should see a deed from when the last owner prior to the sale purchased it, and you should see a deed when they transferred it at the sale. We need to have that. Let's see. Doyle. I submitted 4 this week on Monday, and none are on the active list. It should have been on there by now, Doyle, if we accepted it. And 2 were kicked back. If they're kicked back, it tells you what to do. I submitted 1 2 weeks ago, never saw on the list. It was never kicked back after 5 days. Something's going on at your end, Doyle, because if we get it, it is inputted very quickly. Sent an email to Team Bungie. It's actually Team Bougie. I was told to resubmit, which I did. It has been another 4 days, and I still not saw it on the list, and it has not been kicked back. Normally it takes 3 days. No, the max is 3 days. What would cause it to not show up in 3 days or be kicked back the amount of time? So Doyle, whatever you do, first of all, when you're searching the active files list, make sure you're searching by case name, just in case there's something else that wasn't quite on there quite right. But go ahead and send me a copy of that, and I'll double check with paperwork and see if they got it and see what the issue was. Just respond to the email address I sent you that from, and I'll make sure the girls take care of it. Sorry, I'm old. My crew is all women, which is fantastic. They can multitask and they are unbelievable. But I tend to call them the girls. I know that makes some people angry. Rory, again, nice bricks, buddy. Thank you. Why do you have a monthly limit on people that can buy in, if you keep lifelong membership? On surplus program, if I fill out your paperwork for my 8%, what is your general success rate? Is it state dependent? It is state dependent, Rory. And guys, go to surplusfundsriches. Or rather, go to YouTube. Search for our page, Surplus Funds Riches. I literally just updated 2 things. Well, I updated one recently. It's about conversion rate. That's right on there. It's a brand new video. It's a fantastic video. And the other one that I put up is a state guide, and that'll help you with that. If you scroll through our page, you'll find the video. I think that was up about a month ago where I put that. So great questions. The limit we've got is 100 per month turned in. And the reason that we did that, Rory, is what we didn't want to happen is people to come in with teams, because this has happened to us before. Hire 10 virtual assistants and just flood it. We can handle it. We can handle the volume. It's just not fair to the other guys out there that are starting up, because most of the folks that start with us are starting on their own. And once they scale up, they're actually going to do the deals on their own. So we were trying to avoid that. And I think it's been good. And we do not count, like, for instance, if you submit one, we get back and go, hey, look, the claimants are dead. We always tell you that when we skip trace it. We don't count that in your 100. Brad, hey, Sean, what do you think about online notary like Notarized to use if the owner was able to provide pictures of the property? So I'm assuming, Brad, you're talking about one of our deed flip files programs, because you don't need pictures of the property for surplus funds at all. One of the things I do want to say, and I don't know that I pushed this enough in the ebooks, but whenever you get anything signed by a notary, I would have the notary also take a picture of their government issued picture or photo ID. Take a picture of that. Have that in the file. You're going to get asked for that by the court. So you might as well have them do it. And they're going to have to review it to see that it's the right person anyway. No one has ever given us a hard time about taking a picture of their driver's license, okay, or their state ID. We've even had in some instances where it's, they're overseas. We've tracked down quite a few people, even though it's very difficult. But we've tracked down quite a few people. We've actually taken pictures of passports. Completely illegal, but I recommend you do that. I'm sorry. Online notaries, if you mean it's a system where you can find a notary and get in touch with them and have them go out and physically sign it, and then I send them a FedEx label that they can put right on a FedEx sheet, then I can send it right back to us. Speed counts in this business. I certainly don't send it to them and have them notarize it. Somebody send it. That's crazy. I send out a mobile notary every time, and I use a live notary. I don't do online notarization. I know some courts say that they take it, but if there's any issue at all, or if the clerk's in a bad mood that day, this is how life works, guys. If the clerk's in a bad mood that day, they can have a problem with it. So I always do a live notary in front of them. Typically, I found it can run anywhere from as cheap as 50 to as high as 150, even 200. If they're in the middle of nowhere and that notary has to drive an hour to get there, they're going to pound you on their fee. But typically, I'd say 50 to 125 is the norm. Thais, if you're looking on auction.com or wherever and the property hasn't sold yet, how do we find out the minimum bid or sold amount? Is just watching the property and coming back once auction sale has been taking place. Thais, that's in the ebook. I'm assuming you're talking about the panning program, that you have to know what the opening bid was for the panning. And you're going to have to see that when it's coming up. Make note of that, okay? And then you're going to have to look after it was sold for what the final price was. That's seriously... That's in the ebook on how to do that. It is a two-step process. But let me tell you something, the conversion rate on the panning system is off the charts. And I'm not kidding. I don't know if I put this on the Facebook post or not. Over $20,000 in commissions sent out in the last 2 days. I mean, that's how powerful this stuff is rolling right now. Tab, if a mortgage modification document shows a new lender, okay, and points to the original mortgage document, but there is no assignment of mortgage document from the original lender to the mortgage modification lender, Can I list the mortgage modification lender in my file as the new assigned lender? Yeah, Tab, if it's gonna actually point to it, Jeff can tell me if I'm wrong on this. If it's actually pointing to it, referencing that instrument number or deed and book and page number, you can absolutely use that unless Jeff jumps in and tells me I'm wrong. He handles the front line. I'm seeing a Q&A here. Guys, please don't use Q&A. Greg, you asked a Q&A question. Use chat, please. All right, let's see. Sorry. Sonny, if an owner has code enforcement liens filed against them on another property they own, do I need to list the liens on the subject property that was involved in the tax deed sale? No, it has to be against the property that's sold. Great question, Sonny. And by the way, this is why we always tell you, look at the legal description, because if they're going to have code enforcement liens, they're typically going to list the address or the legal description. So if it's a different legal description, it's not the same property. It does not count. Code enforcement liens against another property don't count. Great question so far tonight, guys. I don't understand looking at you. Okay. How do I discover a workable file with pre-foreclosure files? Thais, because of your questions, I'm going to ask this. I'm not making fun or anything else. Have you purchased one of our programs? All right, Gary, please forgive me. I forgot the name of the sale this month for $397. Actually, I believe it's $447. It's not selling to wholesalers, Gary. That was last month. That's gone. We're doing North Carolina Flip Master as our special this month. Of course, we also sell our other programs and our other bundles. Rory says, thank you. Sonny, are there any countries where you won't contact the owner? No. Let me tell you why that's a great question, though, Sonny. So it's difficult to find people in other countries. You typically can't get a skip tracing system that's worth a darn in any other country, or you can't get access to it. Just like the U.S., I've had people try to do surplus funds recovery in the United States, and they're from outside the country, and they tend to partner with us because they usually, unless they have a U.S. address they can use, they typically don't have a way to get a good skip tracing service because they require you to be here. Countries where you won't contact, there's none I won't. We've done deals in the Philippines, multiple South American countries, got really close in Germany one time. I will tell you that the court tends to have a problem with a couple of different countries. I believe Honduras is one of them. They don't like the Philippines either, but if we have a copy of a passport, which they're going to have if they moved out of the country, if we've got that, we're typically golden. It does work differently with notaries in other countries. South America, I believe they're called notaricias, and I have found that I usually have to wire them payment in advance for them to even look at it and go. I can trust them, though. I haven't had an issue with that. It's just that they like prepayment up front because we're calling them from another country. And it's not cheap, by the way, to wire international. I'm reading the ebook, and okay, so Thais, we always recommend you read the ebook twice for comprehension. And then if you still have an issue, and of course you can click the link in it to also watch the videos on the resources page. If you have a specific question at that point, you can use support as outlined in the ebook. And that's really easy to do. Jeff he has 3 business days to get back, but he typically gets back quicker than that. Greg, how do I get started? I'm brand new and need the cheapest buy-in possible, please. I've worked with someone, so I'm familiar with tax deed auctions more than liens and want to help people get their surplus back. And then anything else you guys can teach to get me going, please. What ebook and where do I get started? Is there an audiobook? So there's videos attached on the resources page to the ebook, Greg. Get the National Surplus Funds Program. It teaches you how to do surplus funds recovery on your own. It also gives you the option to partner with us, where all you do is go get your own list. We teach you how to do all this. You take that list, okay? You take that list, take the names off of it, double check it's already not on our list. You have access to our active files list, so you don't waste any time researching something that we already have if you want to partner with us. Then you make sure you just research the debt. Was there additional debt against the property? Or was it low enough? Like, for instance, it's a $5,000 debt, but it's a $50,000 overage. Okay, so that means we can go after $45,000 for the owner, or as long as it's not going to eat it, not eat the entire overage. But you check that, fill out a worksheet, turn it in, and we go from there. We find them, put the deal together, hire the mobile notary and the attorney, and pay you with that one 8% of the gross. The gross amount, hell, that's a lot of money when we successfully get it out. Now, we're paying them anywhere from 50 to 70%, depending on the dollar amount. And our attorneys are running us 10 to 13. And then, of course, we're paying you your 8. So, we're by no means gouging anybody on it. And because we can tell them where it is and we use attorneys and we give them 10% of the gross amount being held by the court up front as good faith money, we do pretty good. So yeah, the cheap one, Greg, would be National Surplus. It's $597. You'll be able to get that September the 15th or 16th, starting on the 15th at 10 a.m. Eastern, running through 10 p.m. Eastern on the 16th of September. Love to have you on board. Tony, purchase material. I get this a lot. I purchased materials 2 years ago. Didn't do anything due to my illness. My first time back. Where should I start to get up to speed? Open your book, Tony. Read it twice for comprehension. At least twice. Guys, listen to me. Read the book at least twice for comprehension. There's a couple of reasons. It's a step-by-step. It has screenshots. It goes all the way through it. The other point with reading it twice is some of the stuff in the beginning is kind of definitions, give you an idea. We're trying to get on the same page as you because we'll be using the same lingo. You know, you contact Jeff using support through email and go, hey, about the deed thingy. That could be a deed of trust. That could be a special warranty deed. It could be anything. A deed transferring at the sale could be the original deed from when the owner purchased the property prior to that foreclosure. By doing that, you gain a better understanding of what you're doing. But what it also does is it helps us because Jeff can give you better support because we're speaking the same language. So read it twice. Shelly, where do I start being a newbie? Go to the site, surplusfundsriches.net. Guys, there's a file download. Download that. Download that. Download that. That file download? Download that. Because it's got pricing and an overview of all the programs. The new program, the National Surplus Funds program is $597. You'll be able to get that on the sales date, September 15th and 16th. You'll be able to pick that up. The products page, the page you go to that's currently the products page on our website, surplusfundsriches.net. Download that file, guys. That page right now just basically goes over the fact that we're having a sale, and it has 2 downloads on it that are what you can download here. Overview of the programs and pricing. That will become, it will turn into a buy page on the 15th of September, starting at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Brad, redemption wholesale question. Are there any license requirements for a person, not a company, okay, good, who practices wholesaling property in the 7 states mentioned in the ebook? No, you don't need a license, especially if you're buying as an individual. If you're buying the property as an individual and then flipping it to investors like we taught you to, there's no license required for that. I'm going to tell you a secret. I was a real estate agent since 1993. Really haven't sold much since 2007, right before the crash. Realtors don't even know this stuff, okay? Their licensing requirement, and if there's any realtors on there, you guys will agree with me. Real estate agents or brokers, it's really what you learn in those licensing classes is how to stay out of trouble, right? Teaches you how to not get in trouble, stay on the good side of the law. And that's maybe calculate your commission. And that's about it. This is stuff that isn't even on the radar. But no, you can buy or sell a home all day without a license. Good question. Nathaniel says, good evening. Thank you. Guys are rolling. Thank you. These are great questions, guys. I appreciate it. What is the date of September Surplus Teammate offering? So what you're talking about is a national surplus. That'll be September 15th and 16th, Rory. If you go to the page, guys, it's right there. Like first sentence. Lindsay, how long does it generally take for a sale to be recorded if I'm following auctions and find overages? I can't really work until the sale is actually recorded, correct? No, it's not a dumb question, Lindsay. Yes, we've got to have the deed transferring, because if you can't get that, one of the major reasons for that, or it can be, one of the reasons it can be for that is that it did not actually sell. The sale was vacated. That's why we've got to have that deed. Sonny, I know we eliminate LLCs, correct? But how about a trust company that is custodian for the owner? Can I still work the file? I'm going to let Jeff weigh in on this one because he's the one that has to deal with that. By the way, it's usually not a trust company. It's a trust. It's usually a family trust when it sells with a family trust. And there's usually a trustee for that, a person named, and sometimes even a backup trustee for that trust. And I'm going to let Jeff answer that because he's the one that's in charge of underwriting the files. And so he's got the last say in that. Good question, Sonny. So he'll jump in, I'm sure, and cover that. Abigail, how do I get the ebook? Where is it located? You buy it. you go to surplusfundsriches.net and click on products or the banner at the top, the scrolling banner. That'll take you to the products page. We only sell 2 days out of the month, September 15th and 16th is the next one. We only sell those 2 days starting at 10 a.m. Eastern time on the 15th, ending at 10 p.m. Eastern on the 16th of September. Go there and do me a favor, sign in. At the bottom, there's a place where you can reserve your spot. So if we sell out, the system will recognize your IP address and let you buy through all the way through the end, 10 p.m., even if we sell out to people that haven't reserved a spot. Chastity, I found a property that was listed in a person's name, but directly after that, it said Mutual Pension Trust. Mm-hmm. So since it's a trust, can I submit it, or is it considered a business? So that's a different kind of trust. The trust I was talking about earlier and going back on is if somebody sets up a family trust, puts a property in trust. What you're talking about is people are actually buying the property through their pension system. And my experience, okay, through their account, like the Schwab account or whatever, there's a way to do that, guys. My personal experience is that company is going to try to get the surplus funds back, and it's usually a waste of time. I'll let Jeff answer differently if he's got a different answer for me. Joe, can I resubmit files submitted to the Premier Surplus Partnership 16 to the National Surplus if I haven't located the claimant? No, Joe, that's what we tell people. Look, if you've got both books, try to call them real first on Premier 16. Can't get a hold of them, can't put a deal together, turn it as a National Surplus before it's turned in. Otherwise, what people are going to do is they're going to turn in a ton of Premier 16 stuff, the initial submission before they even contact the people, and not be able to reach them. A lot of people don't actually pay for a good skip tracing service or whatever. And then they're going to try to turn it as a national. It's not fair to the other people. I need you to actually work the file. I'm an agent also, and you are correct, says Rachel. You know, Rachel, as a real estate agent, we are the ones that are the most hardcore on other agents, right? Because that's all I did. I had a huge RE/MAX team, President's Club, all these different whatever awards, 13 buyer agents at one time underneath me. And it just drove me crazy because the other agents in the market were horrible, just horrible. They didn't know what they were doing, or they were part-time and they'd get stuff to you when they could. The market right now, Rachel, is certainly weeding them out because there's no inventory. Ian, I bought the gold bundle a while back. According to the document posted in that chat, it says you guys now give $500 when you get the contract back. Is that something you guys have started recently? If so, it's really great. Yeah. Hey, great thing to bring up, Ian. I just sent, we got 5 under contract from one of the guys in the course, Pete. And I actually, just last week, we got them all get under contract like in a week. It was unbelievable. Well, a couple weeks. But he got in touch with me, and I'd forgotten to, I told him that we had him under contract, but I didn't mention it. And he said, how about that? And I sent him a check for $2,500, $500 per deal. Now, the way that works is we've got to get the contract back. It's got to go to our attorney, which it happens that day. Goes to the attorney. Attorney double checks title for us, double checks that the money's still being held. Actually, Kathy, our attorney liaison, does that. Double checks the money's still being held with the court or with the trustee. And at that point, when we've got the all clear, which usually takes 2 to 3 days total from that point, we'll contact you, tell you where it's under contract. I am behind right now. There's about 4 more contracts I got to tell people about, and I will be contacting people tomorrow. But at that point, I contact you, let you know it's under contract, and I'm happy to give $500 of your commission at that point. Of course, it's going to come out of the back end, right? I'm just giving you kind of an advance on your commission. So yes, we do that, Ian. Good question. Verlin, I have confusion when it comes to redemption periods. For example, if a state has a redemption period of 6 months, would that apply to the tax liens and mortgage liens? Huh? Also, does a redemption period apply to a tax deed sales? So, Verlin, I'm thinking you're talking about the redemption wholesaler. Okay. So if there are mortgages or liens there, you have to just factor that in. And yes, it's usually they have the same time period to redeem the property. They actually have a shot at, a lot of the lien holders have a shot at that, but nobody ever exercises that right. But you still have to research the debt, because when you flip that, I'm thinking you're asking me about redemption wholesaler. When you give that to their investor, they're going to need to know about it, because they have to pay off that debt when they actually resell the property. So yes, this is all post-sale redemption stuff. I hope that answered your question. Sorry, I was throwing a little bit at first. Shelly, can you please talk about the packages coming up for sale in September? So Shelly, we've got a bunch of bundles. We're kind of running out of time here. So what I'm going to want you to do instead is download the file download that's attached to this. All the pricing is in there. All the bundle information is in there. Everything you need. If for some reason you can't download that, which I've never seen anybody have a problem, but if for some reason you can't, go to the site, surplusfundsriches.net, click on the products tab at the top, or on it's a moving, I don't know what the heck you call that. It's on the top of the page. Anyway, click on that, take you to the products page. Halfway down in the middle of the page, there's a insider's guide, which is an overview of all the programs, and there's a price guide that shows you what's being for sale. And that'll be September 15th and 16th. Gary, will Redemption Wholesaler program be available in September? No, it will not. I don't know what we're going to do with that, Gary. It may be a bundle-only book. A lot of times, Rachel says I was Remax too. A lot of times, Gary, we offer, it's kind of a one-and-done deal. And after that, usually the only time you can get it is if you buy the diamond. So you got to really watch for stuff like that. I don't know. We may actually offer it again. Won't be for a while, though. Sometimes we do wacky stuff during our Black Friday sale. Sonny says, yippee, I got my third file accepted today. All right, Sonny, turn it on. Turn the faucet on and keep turning them in. Joe, just want to understand we shouldn't submit files where claimant is deceased in both surplus funds programs. Well, Joe, we can't do a deal with a dead person. Now, Florida, we can do, it has an outline. That's a separate system for us because the statutes are so different down there. So Florida, we have kind of a way to do that, but on the other ones, no. If it's dead, we can't work it. Can't work with a dead claimant, and it's cost prohibitive to open up an estate or probate file. Katie, hey Sean, getting started with this program. I've read the ebook twice. Are there any states that have lower competition, less saturated market that would be good for someone just getting started to work? I'm going to lead you, Katie, to our YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com. Search for Surplus Funds Riches, all one word, should come up to our channel. Once you're there, you'll see one of the videos has a map of the United States on it. Watch that video. It's going to help you guys a lot. Jordan, if I'm working as a researcher full-time, 8 hours a day for the National Deed Flip, what's the reality of me finding a workable file in this system is this system evergreen? The system is evergreen, and the National Deed Flip, one of the things we told people last year is it was going to pick up this year, and we're right. Sellers are starting to get the memo, and they're working with us a lot more with the deed flips. North Carolina in particular, though. If you guys look, if you haven't purchased one of our program, go get a bundle or get the National Surplus. Biggest bundle you can afford, just because that gives you the lowest per course cost, right? We stagger that for a reason. But the North Carolina Flipmaster, that's being offered as on sale for $447. We never sell it by itself. That'll be in September. Get that and add on National Surplus if you can afford it at least. That program, it's our highest converting program, and flips have gone way up. And I am pushing North Carolina. And some news for you guys that already have the North Carolina Flipmaster in one of your bundles. Couple things. We went up on the top value range that we want to hit with that. And just so you know, we will go after land, undeveloped land in North Carolina. We won't do that in most states. That's a big deal. Let's see if there's anything else here. I think that's it. Redemption Wholesaler question, Sean. This is from Brad. How do you assign the contract over to the investor? What form is needed? So it's a good back question. So that program has a lot of different things. I added in a durable power of attorney simply because it's nice to have in case something was to come up down the road. Of course, you're actually getting the deed, though, Brad. You're getting the deed in your name. That's part of the deal. So you can literally transfer the deed to the investor, but the contract that I have in there is also assignable. So that you don't have to do anything with that. You have an agreement between you and the person, or you can just give them the deed and let them follow through with it. The redemption wholesaler seems more complicated than it is. You're overcomplicating that. I'm taking a quick look here, guys, at the question and answer because I believe somebody else asked one. I try to avoid that. Carol, is there certain software that needs to be purchased in order to find properties or homes that would have mortgage overages? There is not. You're looking for a list, Carol, of mortgage overages. Some states allow that, some do not. On the states that don't, that's because a trustee or an attorney for the bank actually not only handles the foreclosure in those states, about 18 of them, 20 of them, but also handles the disbursement of surplus, and they will not give you a mortgage overage list. The only way to work those states is that new program we launched January the 1st called Panning for Hidden Surplus Funds. That's only available in the Diamond. It's already accounting for over 40% of our deals right now. It's the strongest thing we've got. But National's fantastic too, right? Tax and mortgage overages are covered in that. Let me make sure that we're clear on chat. I think we are. Guys, my phone number, okay? If you're thinking about buying, this is for pre-purchase questions only. Email support is handled through Jeff after you've purchased. He's very good at that. And guys, here's the deal, because people get up with me sometimes and go, I just have a quick question. And I think they get angry when I go, hey, you support is outlined in your ebook. The deal is Jeff handles the underwriting of the files as they come in, and he handles support. I'm going to give you the wrong answer because he's handling that front end. I handle the women in the office, right? All the case managers, the administrative staff, the attorney liaison. I'm handling the back end stuff, okay? Jeff also helps with that too. But I'm handling, if we need a realtor to sell property, if we have an issue with an attorney, if we have an issue with a claimant, the whole crew making the calls and the mailings and making sure everything's good there. So that's why I tell people always use support through Jeff, just so you guys know I'm never blowing you off on that. All right. I appreciate the questions tonight. You can reach me, sorry, got sidetracked, directly if you have any questions, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. You can call me at 704-791-9398. 704-791-9398. This will be uploaded to YouTube, and you'll be able to watch the replay as well. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.